Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vox and Jed Fight About It, the show where me and Jed typically fight about it. That's what we usually do
Yeah.
here. I thought I would have something clever. I genuinely did. I swear to
had
you.
something lined up and then it was gone. That's all right.
Well, that's
It
the thing is I
happens.
didn't think of anything. I went to hit the record button and I was like, oh, surely I'll wing it and I'll think of something when I get halfway through the sentence. And then I was out to sea with no way of
Well,
steering.
Guess what? You've done it. You've managed to stumble upon it accidentally via realizing that you didn't have anything.
Yeah, this is
Congratulations.
something now. This is the show.
This is something.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's what we
This is
do
the
here.
nothing
Is
show.
nothing. This
Vox
is
and
we are
Jed
the show about
fucking sit.
nothing. Yeah, Vox and Jed
Yeah.
nothing about it.
Last time
But
we
no.
had Whale.
Last time we had Whale. Can we talk about Whale real quick?
Yeah,
I
we
think
can talk
we
about
should
Whale.
start getting into this habit because I see other shows do it and I want to do it too. Where we
Yeah.
not like cattily, not like behind our back or anything, but we just do like a debrief of like what the week was like with the guests and how we were feeling. Because I want to open this one up actually. Can I start us
Go for
off
it.
about talking about Whale? Whale is a great guy. Whale's fantastic. He's very funny. He's very clever. He's very on point. Great role player. Not a good interviewee, unfortunately. Very short answer individual. I think it was a fine episode. It's worth going back and watching because you find out a lot about Whale. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, over the course of that interview, it was a lot of yes or no answers. And to be fair,
He's concise.
we didn't have a lot of depth questions. Concise is the word because they weren't bad
That's the
answers.
polite way.
They weren't because like concise is more accurate. Not even that just I'm trying to be more polite as much as just like that's
Yeah.
the way I would put it. I just couldn't think of the word because like they weren't bad answers. They were correct answers and they said everything that they needed to within those answers. But you know, I could have done with a little more for the sake of the show because we ran out of stuff
Yeah.
about toward the last half hour and it was just like okay,
That's all
well, time to
We
talk
fought in the
about
last
Halloween
one,
and
so we got to
pizza.
live up.
Yeah, no, we got it. We got it. So we got to live up to it a little bit. What did you think of the episode with Whale? You got another comment beyond what I've said? I hope.
No, I mean Whale is really solid guy overall. I think interviewing was like he's less of a storyteller and more of a doer. In that regard, I don't mean to say less of a storyteller because he is a really great RPer and he's a good writer. It's just like weaving a web of words to say something that means nothing.
And he's not great at the improv of it, you know,
Mhm.
and that's
Yeah,
okay.
the
No,
improv
it's
of
a
the-
very hard skill. It's a
Oh,
very
yeah.
hard skill
And
to
I
get a
mean, we
hold
don't
of,
even have
and we don't even have it all the way down. You're right. Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I had a very good time with Whale and I was happy he was on for sure. He's one of our like active viewers on the show. So it was kind of nice to have a chat with somebody who, you know, has watched the show
Whale.
for more than that. Hi Whale.
I hope you appreciate our review of your performance on our show last week.
Yeah, we're gonna give performance reviews. Should we retroactively give performance reviews of everybody else?
I don't think we should make this the like ranking our friends on a rubric episode. And unfortunately,
All right, number
I
one.
don't think you know why we shouldn't talk
Huh.
about our friends nonstop this episode because we're gonna be talking about our friends all month. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I had this great idea, this great one of a kind idea that no one has ever thought of ever before me, of doing a guest month where over the course of the show. This will be the last episode where it's just me and Jed, if all goes to plan. For the entire month of November, you're gonna get only episodes with guests, and we will be back as a duo act, not a solo act, but we'll be back as a duo act coming this December. Because, you know, we've, due to not being able to get Crim Rose on the fucking show to save our lives, and I will fight tooth and nail to have them on this week. Not
They
this
will be
weekend,
on this
but
week.
this following weekend.
I will fly to Australia.
Episode. We will end up in their home before we allow them to duck out of this episode. We are coming for you, Crim, if you're listening to this. Because we've been trying to get them on for weeks, and it's kind of caused us a little bit of strife, unfortunately. Because, during that time is when everybody and their mothers have all collectively showed up on our doorstep and said, "Please, sirs, please may I appear on your podcast?" And it's all people we would love to have on who are mostly not British and mostly not little chimney sweep boys from medieval England, but or Victorian England rather.
We did have a few of them. That was kind of surprising.
Yeah, no, there were a lot of little chimney sweeps around, and it really kind of depressed me a little bit to find out how many of those are
Yeah.
left. But either way, we had a lot of people come to us like, "Hey, I want to be on the show. When can you have me?" And I got really embarrassed when I had to tell someone, yeah, we've got you in like 4 weeks. Does that work?" And it's like, that's embarrassing. I'll retract that
Around
and
Christmas time.
I'll get them a better. I feel like a doctor's office. Have you ever showed up at a
Yeah.
doctor's office and they're like, dude, like, we are booked out. Best
Next
I can
available
do
appointment?
is like June of next year. And it's like, I guess I gotta go with that one. You're the only people who take my
Alright, yeah.
insurance. Fine.
Yeah, and then you just have to commit, and then by the time that you get there, then they're like, actually, we can't make that date. We're having like renovations, or it's always some bullshit. And then they're like, we can schedule you for like 2 months after that. And then
Yeah. No, and there always seems to be
Mhm.
some weird unforeseen thing on both sides, and it's always a problem. It's always and forever a problem. But God forbid you have to reschedule for the doctor's appointment.
Of
No,
course.
no.
I had one of those. where they pushed it back and they pushed
Did
it back,
you?
and it was a whole like 16 months worth of pushing back. And then it comes up 1 week before my appointment. No calls yet. I get a call. Yeah, sorry, the doctor has decided to retire.
Oh
I
my
was so
Christ.
mad. I was so mad.
I would tell him no, you're not allowed to retire. You don't get to make appointments and then fucking push me back 6 months till you can. Maybe that guy just hated you that much and he was like, listen,
Maybe.
I'm retiring in like 6 weeks. I just need to get this appointment beyond me. And then once it's on the other side of me, I don't have to deal with that shit anymore.
I don't have to worry about him.
I don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it. But speaking of doctor's appointments, funny thing about doctor's appointments, I have an eye exam coming up, an annual eye exam, so
Okay.
no scheduling issues there because I love annual appointments, dude. I'm a big fan of doctor's offices like dentists and optometrists and whatnot, where or like even just getting your like yearly physical of just like, yeah, no, you guys got an opening in November of next year. Okie dokie. All right, cool. Because what psychopath is scheduling for November next year unless they're also doing their annual? So, like, like, usually it works out that the only other people doing their annual on that date are going to be the people who were in the waiting room with you. So, like, no more people than could possibly fit in the day. And so it's such an easy scheduling because you walk over to the receptionist and they're like, we'll get you November next year. And it's like, okay, it's November this year right now. I can do that. Sure. You know?
Mhm.
And then you end up on a wait list, and then you show up on the day, and they're like, "Yep, we got you in our system. Here you go, bright and early, 9 a.m." Sorry, I'm thinking about it because I got an optometrist appointment at 9 a.m. next month, and I'm just,
Oof.
I wake up at like 5 p.m.
I had-
I'm just gonna have to sleep in and wander through, dude. That shit is
That's
gonna
what's happened to me for the past
rock
few days.
me.
My sleep schedule was boned because of it, because I had to get up and they were like, "Here, take this heart rate monitor, and also fuck you."
Right, we need to talk
We'll get
about
into
your
that
heart rate
later.
monitor. No, we can talk about it now. We're talking
Oh,
about like
we'll go
medical
into it
shit
now?
now. We'll talk about
Alright,
medical
alright.
shit right now. We're at the beginning of the show. Why not top the show off with like some
So-
gross, like Jed's oiling himself up and like slapping
What?
like probes onto himself so that he can like read his heart rate.
Oiling?
Yeah.
So I had I had
No,
really high
that's
blood
when
pressure.
they.
We all
I'm
knew about this.
sorry.
That's
That's
an
when they-
ultrasound.
That's not just that, but they put that same gel on you before they fucking like hit you with the pads, the big
Oh.
paddles to fucking shock you back.
Oh yeah.
Whatever
no,
those
no,
are
no,
called.
no.
Those have left me for the moment. I have no idea what those are called. But anyway,
I,
you recently have been having some heart problems, which we've filled the audience in on week to week,
Yeah.
and there have been some developments. Let's talk about it.
I had my cardiologist appointment, and they were like, yeah, so I have another ultrasound lined up, and they were like, yeah, we're going to do an ultrasound and a 3-day monitoring where it's like an EKG, but you wear it for 3 days. And I was like,
Mhm.
all right, I can do that. That sounds kind of uncomfortable, but I can deal with that. And I went in this yesterday morning, and went in and I went through the whole procedure. And then I get into the room with the lady, and it was a different lady. It wasn't my cardiologist. It's the woman who specializes in this monitoring thing. And she goes, "Okay, so it looks
Right,
like you've got a 3-day monitor period with a 14-day extension. So it looks like you're going to be wearing it for 16 days." And I was like, "What? Say that again?" And she was like, yeah, you're going to be wearing it for 16 days. Did the doctor tell you?" "No." And I was just like, "Oh, okay." And so I for the past 2 days.
What a fucked up
Mhm.
thing to do to a human being. What a fucked up thing to do. I'm just like, yeah, we're just gonna like slap these probes on you for a couple days. As long as you can put up with that, it's just a couple day long study. That's fine. It's like that's some like devil's deal, read the fine print type shit, dude. That's fucked up. They gotta give you that shit up front. Anyway, you're just saying.
But like, have you ever had an EKG?
I have
But
not.
so they're pretty much like fucking like double-sided sticky tape with metal probes that like press the metal bit to your skin. And then
Oh, they're metal? I
um
thought they were like wire. I thought they were like a thin like
no,
wire piece. No, they're metal?
no,
Good
they're
God.
kind of like buttons. They're like
Are they like a
those button shirts that
stethoscope
snap?
head or?
No, they're like buttons that snap like on a
Oh,
shirt.
they're like little snaps. Okay, I see.
Yeah, they're little like snap buttons.
They're
And
about
those
that
are
big,
attached
like
to
a
like
few
tape.
centimeters long, or in
And
diameter. I mean.
for your typical EKG, you have, I think it's like 12. But for this just smaller monitor, it's only 3. But I have to have these 3 pads on me all day and night. With the exception of like, I didn't want to do it, but I'm glad you did. With the exception of like, I have 2 hours in the day where I have to charge it, and I can shower during that period. I have, however, because it was about to die, decided to charge it while we're recording the podcast, so I'm not wearing it right now. But I am wearing the pads because the pads just stick to you, and once they touch the skin, after about an hour, they kind of turn into a gel. It's very bizarre. They're very sticky. It like fuses to your skin. Like once it's like pretty well and stuck on there for a few minutes, when you pull on it, it kind of feels like you're pinching the skin. Yeah,
you want to keep it on
but
there.
they've got those buttons, and so like you just snap the wires on, and the wires then go down to like a little thing the size of about a BlackBerry. If anybody in the audience remembers what a BlackBerry looks like.
Yeah, it's
and
like a little thing about the size of your palm.
Yeah, and then I have
Maybe not the
to
size
wear
of
that
your palm,
around.
but
No,
the
not
size
the
of
size
an
of
average
my
person's palm.
But I have to have it around on me at all times. Do you remember back in the day when you would have to wear wired headphones and like sometimes you'd set your phone down
can't do
and then you'd
this.
forget? What?
We can't do this. I just realized we opened the show by talking about I have an optometrist appointment coming up, and you have to wear like sleep heart rate monitoring gear, and now we're going, remember back in the day where you used to have to wear wired headphones? I feel like we just become the most old men in the world. I feel my
shit.
skin
Now's the time to pull back the old man
and
laugh.
aging. Oh shit, if there ever was a time. Let's fucking, it's kind of early
right.
in the show, but sure.
It's a bit early.
3. 1,
Well, we could save
2.
it for later.
Yeah, we'll close with the old man.
Okay,
we'll close with the old man. God, why'd you have to suggest that then? Now I feel like I've like come up for a sneeze and been stopped. Because I was like braced for it, man. Anyway, you were saying about
you're
wired
like
headphones and forgetting
knuckles,
about it.
white knuckles grabbing your knees. But
Yes.
no, yeah, wires and wired headphones, and you'd forget about it on the table, and then you'd stand up, and it would yank your phone down. It would also yank your like head with it before the headphones
Crack
would
the
come
fuck out of my iPhone 4 doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but at all times, and like it's really stuck on you. So like today, it like dropped it and like ripped all of the hair that I have on my chest out on that specific area, and I was just like, I was so
You're so funny. That was a really funny scream to have come through. You were saying, go ahead.
I was in so much pain. Not really. It didn't even pull the probe off. It just like started to yank on the hairs. It didn't like fully commit, which I think hurts more with hair.
Who I'll be yanking on my probe.
Oh my god. But yeah, and then they just snap right in. And that's been my life and will be my life for the next few days. It also irritates the fuck out of my skin, so that's fun.
But what is this all in aid for, Jed? When you finish this study, what is the hopeful information they'll find out about you?
You have sinus tachycardia. Sinus is a regular rhythm for your heart. It's when all of the ventricles and everything all like boom, boom, boom in the right order. Tachycardia is just fast heart rate. I was already diagnosed with sinus tachycardia. This is just guaranteeing that that's the only thing I'm experiencing.
Right, and making sure there's no side deal effect that you're just not aware of.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's
like
good. You want to talk about your caffeine thing?
Oh yeah,
speaking of things to do with your heart and how you've been with caffeine recently.
so yeah, I was told by my doctor immediately quit all caffeine. Surprisingly, the psychiatrist, because they're psychiatrists and they were like a nurse at a hospital, so they know what they were talking about. But like
Right,
they're
right.
like, you drink way too much caffeine. You need to quit that shit. And like the nicotine is fine for now. Just make sure like the caffeine is the biggest worry right now. And I was like, okay. Um, and so I quit all caffeine. And at the time, I was drinking 2 to 3 monsters a day, fairly easily. Um,
Which is
just
a
to
lot.
have. That is a lot. That is
To just casually be putting down.
just under the absolute adult maximum you should have. And I would say that I get an extra bit of leniency because of how big I am, but like still, it's a lot. And
No, those
I
maximums
stopped.
exist for a reason. I don't know, Jed. I think
Yeah.
I might be off on this one.
That that I quit it when I first got the diagnosis, which was like 2 months ago. So I haven't had any caffeine for 2 months. And for this past week, I've been dealing with a lot of sleep issues because I've been having a lot of appointments at a lot of weird times. So like I'll have to wake up at 10 a.m. and then I'll have to do like a stream with Vox at like 10 p.m. And so like my sleep schedule never really got a chance to like figure itself out for the
That's
past week.
fucked up.
I'm sorry?
That's fucked up. For them
Well,
to like
what
put
is?
you on like a sleep study and then go like, all right, we're gonna do a sleep study on you now, and we're
It's
gonna
not a
make
sleep
sure,
study.
or not a sleep study, but like a
Yeah,
heart rate
the
study,
heart.
and then make you like get up and down and like, yeah, you got an appointment at 9 a.m. and then you also need to be up at 6 p.m.
Oh,
and,
they didn't
and
do that. This is
you know,
just this is
I
just my
thought
life being hectic.
you were saying weird appointments at weird times, so I thought you meant like doctor's appointments. So I was like, that's fucked up for them to go like, yeah, your heart rate's gonna be way out of whack anyway, because we're making you like come in at 4 in the afternoon and then again at 9 a.m. the next day.
No,
You know?
it's all different appointments for things. Like it's all either like stream or it's like I had a therapy appointment today, or like my mom needed help with something at this time. So like all things that I didn't want to push back because I didn't want to be like a flake.
Mhm.
And all of that has been catching up to me in the sense that I've had 2 hours of sleep every day for the past week, with a collect total of like 14 hours of sleep in a week.
Mhm.
And I've had weeks like this. I've had weeks worse than this. I think Vox can attest that I've had weeks where I've gotten like,
you've had weeks much worse than this.
And like it's just been kicking my ass this time around. And today I fell asleep at my chair at like an hour before I had to get ready and leave to go to my therapist's appointment. So then I wake up and I'm like, oh fuck, I feel like shit, but I can't flake on my therapist. I'm gonna get in like a car accident. Like I genuinely was like, I was tired to the point where I felt high. Like I was looking at the Forerunner that was in front of me and I was like, is it called a Forerunner? Was it always a Forerunner? I thought it was something else. And I was like, I was tweaking. And I get gas.
Just kind of out.
And I look at the gas station. And I remember my old routine of every time I go out, I go get gas, I'll pick up an energy drink, and I'll get on with my day. And I was like, the doctor told me not to. I'm going to get in a car accident. I would rather have a heart attack than get in a car accident right now. All right. And I buy one of those like big ass bottles of Monster. And I
Chad,
drink
if you have
it.
a heart attack on the road, you're gonna get into a car accident, and then both will happen.
Well, at least then I will be having a heart attack in the moment, and I won't have to worry about the car accident. But no, but either way, I get it, and within like 10 or 15 minutes of drinking it, I'm like alert again, and things make sense. And I started drinking caffeine at like 12 years old.
A lingering caffeine dependency to me.
Possibly, yeah. But like I've been drinking caffeine consistently since I was 12 years old. And I always thought that caffeine didn't really affect me because I didn't notice too much of a difference. And then like I felt more alert. And I was like, man, I feel like I got a full night's sleep now, even though like earlier I was like fucking bleary-eyed, exhausted. Oh man, caffeine is fucking fantastic, but also horrifying. I was drinking this shit consistently. My body, the reason that this week had been so much worse on me was because whenever I would have these weeks, I would supplement sleep with caffeine. I would just like, I don't need to sleep. I'll just drink a Monster, and then there you go. That's my sleep for today. And it's like, no wonder I have heart issues. But like, I just had this moment where I was like, oh my god, this is what caffeine does to people who don't drink caffeine all the time. And it may be a lingering caffeine dependency. I'm not sure what it is, but either way, I had it, and I had the whole Monster, and I feel great. I still feel pretty well rested.
Better in the immediacy, anyway. What are you fidgeting with over there? Because it's very loud. Like, or not loud, but it's just very noticeable. It sounds like you're, like, flipping through papers or something.
Huh.
Weird.
Well, there's a paper on my desk that's getting flipped by the fan. I'll move it.
Yeah, that's probably it. Fucking, like, it sounds like there's papers flipping over there. Oh, I don't know what that could be. Maybe it's this, like, book that I have open that I'm flipping to every page in and then flipping back the other way, too. that might
I didn't notice it until
it's always some shit like that with you.
It's always some weird shit, yeah. I can't sit still.
God. It's genuinely always like that. But anyway, it could be a lingering caffeine dependency. It could be this. It could be that. But I'm glad you feel better in the immediacy. I think you just need to wean off. Genuinely, I think you just need to have a little bit of caffeine every now and again instead of cold turkeying it. Because we were having this conversation. We were having this conversation before the show, and you were like, "Oh, well, I don't think it's that. Like, I don't think there's any need for me to like go back on caffeine just a little bit because I've already quit it and I feel fine." And it's like what you've just described to me in the last 2 months, where you've had zero caffeine at all, cold turkey, full stop, does not sound like you've been fine sleep-wise.
So the other thing as well is that I used caffeine not only to supplement sleep, but as an ADHD medication, where like because it's a stimulant where it's just like, when I need to focus, caffeine really helps me. So like it's also that like I just, I might have a bit more of a brain fog because I don't have that stimulant.
Right.
But yeah, like either way, I'm glad that I feel better now, and I'm gonna have to not have like, energy drinks, because that's what the doctor said was like you can have like a coffee or two, but like energy drinks are
like
too much.
Drinking coffee or something. Like start having a couple cups a day, like one in the morning, one in the evening or something. Like crack one before stream and then have one when you wake up. And then I think there is a happy medium in there for you somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere that isn't like 2 Monsters or
again, that is also very you to go like, well, I mean, it's either 3 Monsters a day or nothing for me. I just don't see any other option. I just don't see a third choice on this road. It's like maybe like one or like a coffee or something.
Like the weird thing is that it's not like cigarettes. Cigarettes are the things that I noticed more when I was quitting for this heart thing was like, because every time I see a cigarette, like I kicked the nicotine habit. I didn't have a nicotine habit ever. Like I was never addicted to nicotine. I was addicted to the like, quiet moment outside and things like that, and the social activity. And even now, I'll see somebody like smoke on a TV show, and it'll be like, damn, I missed that. But I never had that with caffeine. I didn't have anything with caffeine. I like barely even missed it. And then today it hit, and I was like, holy shit, I missed this. When I was fucking just super caffeinated.
Sometimes you don't know what you had until it's gone, I guess. Even when it's like
and then you get it back, and it's like shit.
You're just like grooving along suddenly. Oh man.
Yeah. Anyway, you should. What I'm saying is that if you felt good when you were doing heroin, you should go back to doing heroin because it feels good.
No, Jed, we have to
do heroin.
Okay, so the fun thing about having a platform, Jed, let me walk you through something. The fun thing about having a platform, even one as meager as ours, is that you really gotta settle in and cut the "you should do heroin, haha, it'd be funny" bit. That might, because like, I don't know, man. Particularly like hard addicts for things like if you're like, if you felt better when you were like drinking coffee every day, you should go back to that. I think most people who had a caffeine addiction will just go, that's pretty funny. I would never. But like the like hard drug addicted brain will go, no, actually, maybe I should. Maybe he's got a point. And I just don't want that on my conscience, man. I don't want it anywhere near me.
I'm sorry. I gotta quit that.
Yeah,
But
you gotta fucking be more responsible about the things you say on this show. It's
yeah, I'm an
fucked,
adult
man.
now. Yeah, that's something that's happened. I fucking have become 19.
You said you were an adult. You've been 18 for a year.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. I'm out of like I'm out of the 18, which people still could like people who are 18 are still in high school sometimes. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because it's like, I guess it's just like, because again, if somebody were to come up to me who looked young and I was like, oh, yeah, it's just a kid. And they're like, well, I'm a grown man. What are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, yeah, how old are you? And they go, 18. I'd go, you know. Yeah, like, there'd definitely be
Yeah.
like a moment of, well, kinda. Like, legally, yeah, but you're still
You're an
pretty young.
adult, but you know.
You know?
Yeah.
I think once you exit the teens, I think once you, like, look ahead and go, yeah,
Hit
I'm
20.
fucking 20. I think 21 is probably where I felt it the most of just, like,
Yeah.
I am not on the precipice of it. I am firmly in my 20s. And especially now, I feel it even more substantially. Of like, I am 23. I can damn near rent a car. That's the last milestone I have to look forward to. And then I'm just an adult like everybody else.
A non-driver can rent a car.
Yeah, can
Sure.
rent a car, not a driver. Well, it can be rented in my name. Like, that's a
Oh, it
thing I'm
can be
allowed to
rented in
do.
your name, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, like I'm allowed to be the one responsible for it. I just can't drive it, which actually might make it difficult because they usually require it. Like,
Yeah.
hey, if you're gonna rent this car, you gotta drive it. You know, you can't let other people drive
Yeah.
this shit. But
Well, because it's like
still,
insured under your name. But
that is like the final that is the final hurdle is that like I'll be able to like rent cars and hotel rooms like without having any like sort of like your mommy know you're doing this, you know, like because like sometimes
Yeah.
like fucking shithead 19-year-olds will do shit like that. But you know, it's like I will be a trustworthy, respectable creature in the eyes of the law and just about every official capacity. And then I can continue being an untrustworthy fucking cretin in the eyes of the general public. It'll be great.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
But no, yeah, it's just like I don't know. Adulthood is weird. It's a weird
Adulthood is
margin
weird.
of like I think everybody has their own barrier for it. And like there are people who like live their lives where they're like 65 and they're like anybody younger than me is a kid. I don't care what anybody says. And it's like I think I might become one of those people when I'm that age because it's like I didn't understand it when I was actually a kid. It's like, oh man, that's not fair. But now that I'm an adult and I hear like, yeah, I'm a grown man. I was born in 2005. And it's like, no, you're not, you fucking baby. What are you talking about?
Would you not say that I'm a grown man, Vox?
I'd say that you're legally a grown man, sure, but
Damn.
like, you know,
Damn.
my brain just has a hard time connecting those dots when I think about the math of it. Of just
so
like,
your
yeah, no,
best
Jed's
friend's
an
a
adult.
kid. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm a child
But,
at heart, you see.
I'm
So who's really being groomed here?
All right, sure. We'll do that one, I guess.
We'll go
Holy
for that
shit.
defense, sure.
All right. Another one. Don't groom children. Don't. Important lessons to learn here.
Don't
on
groom
today's
or
episode.
insinuate that you're going to groom a child on your a very public platform. That's lesson number 2 that I have demonstrated just now for you.
Do not groom children. Do not do heroin. And
Don't groom
do not
children.
Pass
Don't do heroin, and we'll come up with a third one at some point throughout the show.
Yeah.
we'll have a
we'll find
third core tenet of the show, and it'll be great. You'll come across it at some point. But gosh, speaking of being considered an adult and things you can do when you're an adult, how about that election? Hey, folks. It's coming up. It's right around the corner, and this is the part where I insinuate for you to go vote. You know what? That's it. I think that actually is it. Hold on a minute. I might be rushing into this. Let me know how this sounds.
Okay, so
don't do heroin, don't groom children, and go vote.
That's a real bizarre set of tenets, but sure.
I think that'll be our 3 major points for this particular episode of the show.
Oh my god.
Those are the 3
sure.
fight about it commandments. Enjoy.
Maybe we'll get 10 by the end of this one. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe we'll get
10.
wild.
I think 10 will be a stretch.
I don't think we could.
If something really good comes along, we'll find it. But yeah, no, I didn't think the burp actually came through. But we're leaving that in now. That has to stay now because it happened to be mid-sentence where I would have a difficulty cutting it out. But anyway, the election is coming up.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about politics Fair warning.
Yeah,
for
we're gonna
y'alls.
have a fair warning. Yeah, a little politic talk, and that's it. I didn't want to say TikTok, and so I really emphasized the L there. But a little talk about politics. So the election's coming up right around the corner, and it's been a crazy like. Now that we've hit this, like the election is mere weeks away, days away, even. We've hit a real crazy point politically, where it seems like every talking point from the past year has become has reemerged and gotten to a boiling point. Some of my personal favorites, one of the candidates now needs like a lean. He needs like pads in front of his feet to keep him from falling forward. Have you heard about this? Donald Trump now stands.
Oh fuck, that's really sad. Actually,
those like old man pads. They are. It is sad. It is sad, and that's why again, I will refer to like what Barack Obama, dementia. God rest his soul, he's definitely dead, I swear, said about Donald Trump, where it's like, dude, if your grandpa started acting like this, you would be worried. So why are people trying to have this man elected? I don't know. It's genuinely pretty fucking sad.
I honestly don't really like the talking point of like Donald Trump is old and that's why it's bad, because it's coming from the same Democrats who are like, "Oh, Biden's fine. Biden's
but no, I think it was true about Biden. I think it was like the one thing I could begrudgingly turn to the Republicans and go, "Okay, you've got a point, but also look at your guy." And then the Democrats, once they didn't have an old guy, were like, "They've got an old guy, get him!" And so, like, I don't necessarily agree. I'm not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I am simply an American voter. That is the only category I fall into. However, I think people who ascribe themselves those labels, some worse than others, have like a real hard bias that they should look at.
Yeah, I think that the Democrats, and this is gonna be like, a big thing, and I'm sorry to any viewers that we lose from this, but also not really, because look at who you're voting for. I think that the Democrats, instead of being like, "Oh, he's old," should just outright say it and just be like, "Yeah, he's a fucking fascist." Donald Trump is going for fascist policy.
People have been saying that.
Oh yeah, no,
not like Democrat leaders, not like the leaders of the Democratic Party. However, like people have been saying that about him for a very long time. Fun fact: I don't want to run the like. I really feel awful. Like I feel like a shitty, awful conspiracy theorist whenever I talk about Donald Trump. But it's all true. Is the thing because like the typical politician thing that you'll hear is like, my candidate is good and righteous and grand, and the other guy's candidate is evil and a fascist and hates America and only wants what he can get for himself. But it's like, I don't know. We've got one of these people who is not pro-Palestine necessarily, which sucks, and hasn't really stood on quite the right side of certain issues, but is the better of the two options by a mile, because the other guy recently said, quote, "I need to get some generals like Hitler had."
Oh man.
That is real quote from one of the two people running for president who are in the like on every ballot in the United States.
Yeah, I would like to back up my claim about him being a fascist, as he has also in his rallies expressed interest in giving full passes to police while they're quote unquote on the job. No matter what they do, they get pardons on the job. He wanted that. He's also stated multiple times at his rallies that this is the quote unquote last election you guys will ever need to vote in, which I don't know what that it means, other than I'm gonna set up a fucking dictatorship.
Right.
Like I don't know. It's a whole disaster.
Can I cherry on top that with the comment that he made about the enemy within? I know that like this has become a Democrat talking point, but kind of. But hear me seriously when I say that the enemy within is you, dear viewer. Yeah. The enemy within is you. The enemy within is me. The enemy within means anybody who doesn't like Mr. Trump will be very quickly and swiftly dealt with the power of the American military and or police force. And I don't really dig that. But side note,
and he's expressed interest in that.
I also don't like Kamala all that much.
I'm not big on Kamala, no.
I think she's a fairly charming leader, is the thing. And
I think she's a politician.
That's a big, important thing. I think she's a politician, and I never thought I would hit a day where I felt refreshed to see a politician who is clearly just smiling for the cameras and making moves. You know, like it's very obvious that the way she presents herself is very calculated and very
Yeah.
taken care of. However, and I'm sure she won't deliver on like half of those promises. And there are a lot of people right now who are very staunchly anti-Trump, who are also like anti-Kamala, who are like, I'm not voting for either of them. I don't think Kamala has earned my vote. I don't like her. I can't in good conscience endorse her for president. So I just won't vote for either of them, and then that will be me being self-righteous. And I hear you. I was with you when it was Joe Biden. I was with you when there was an opportunity and there were just two old men bickering at each other who had about equal shot of making any change. One of them would have made the world a lot worse, and one of them would have just staved it off until another bad guy wanted to run in 4 years. But the thing about it is, right? The thing about it is, that was an option in January and February and March when there was time for like, yeah, we'll get a rallying cry and we'll pick a third party that we can all agree on. And maybe, just maybe, we can hope beyond hope to fight the system. And the two-party system will crumble and we'll all clap and shake hands and feel accomplished that we made the right choice. Except for the fact that when Kamala stepped in, that swayed a lot of those people that were with us. And by the time Kamala stepped in, it was the end of summer. It was about August. And if I had to put a date on it, I'd say like early August even. But still, that's only a few months out from election. That is far too late to formulate one of those plans and disseminate it and get it out there. And so I just want to take a moment to quickly encourage anybody watching the show to go out and cast your vote for whomever it may be. Voting is important. However, I know where my vote stands, and I know that, you know, I know who I'm not voting for is the thing.
Yeah. I think I had said that on stream of just like, because I recently voted. I voted a couple days ago. You're going to vote tomorrow or when the episode comes out. I
should have been voting tomorrow. I don't know if that's still the case. I need to double check some things. Not because I'm not going to vote, but I might just have to push my voting back to the 11th and actually show
the
up on
voting day,
which I really don't want to do on the basis that I really don't want to do it on the basis that it's like, it's going to be so fucking crowded. And if anybody tries anything funny, which I don't think they will, it's a small enough area that like, you know, nothing's going to happen. But if anybody tries anything funny at a big town-wide political statement-worthy event, you know, it would be on actual election day. You know, and so it's like, I kind of want to, more importantly, it's less about like fear of just like, oh no, what if somebody commits some sort of attack against like my voting place? No, it's less about that. I'm not really that concerned about that as much as I am just like, I want to get this shit over with. I want to walk in, cast my vote, and be out in like 10-20 minutes and ready to go home. I would like to read up on all the ballot on the ballot and make my choices carefully, but I would like the act of voting to be the most lengthy part of the process.
Yeah, because like for me, I got mail-in voting. I set that up in Arizona. It sounds like it's much harder in other places. In Arizona, literally when you register to vote, it's like, do you want to do it on the mail? Cool. And then that just happens. You just start getting ballots. And I'm very, very happy about that because it made it nice and easy for me, except for the fact that there were like 10 million propositions and that took like an hour to go through. But here
it's like it's the same way where you just click a box online, but then they're like, all right, we need you to fill out, print, and mail this form, and it's like, who keeps a printer and envelopes and stamps around, dude? I'll just go in, I guess, and so that's what I've elected to do.
I voted for one of the local ones, and they were like, "Hey, your signature doesn't line up because it was the signature for my driver's license, which is a different signature than like the legal document signature."
Can we talk about how much horseshit signatures are as a concept?
They're such bullshit.
Because it's just like, oh, your signature doesn't match the one on your driver's license. Yeah, that's because the lady at the DMV made me do it on a shitty, like half-broken, like card reader touchscreen with my finger. Like, of course it doesn't match. What are you talking about?
It doesn't match, so we're just going to send you, like, a new register to vote thing. Just fill out the parts that are for signatures, and we'll get your signature from that. And I was like, okay. And I did that, and it worked out fine. And I'm happy about that. But, like, Man,
But no, yeah,
that
signatures are silly.
they did mail it out to me, which was nice. But other than like the actual voting process, I think it's really funny. Have you seen those road signs? I don't know if you get a lot of political road signs. In Tucson, they're fucking everywhere.
We're not like a major place, but we've gotten more this year than any other election because Georgia is a swing state this year.
Yeah.
Which is great. I've been talking about it for a while about how blue Georgia's become and how proud I am that outside of Atlanta, the state is becoming more and more blue. And more and more progressive over time. I see queer people walking the streets. I see queer people like that.
I see queer people like fucking the Sixth Sense,
Yeah.
but for gay people.
No, yeah, but I see like actively, openly queer couples and individuals and like the disabled and everybody else who, you know, is traditionally, you know, it's people who could technically be able to hide who they are if they needed to. Like, not people who are, like, disabled, like, in a wheelchair, because obviously they can't hide that as easily. But, like, I've been seeing, like, you know, like, pride stuff around this year, out of season, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Being, like, worn out. And it's like, I've expressed multiple times how happy I am and how thankful I am that, like, the place I'm from is somewhere I can almost be proud of. Last year, the city tried to cut funding for the library, and all the people came together, and we fucking opposed that, and it was great. It was a good local movement thing. Yeah, no, it was awesome. Great. And I've just become so proud of my little town and how you know, it's very outwardly red is the problem. Like, there's a lot of Trump signage around, but if you find, I think you'll find that on like an individual, like person to person basis, most people are either like more left leaning or simply just a little understanding of just like there are less like, how do I put this? There are less homophobic people because there are just enough gay people around where like it's like cancer patients, that old like adage about cancer patients where like if you don't have cancer, you know somebody who does, and if you don't know somebody who does, you know somebody who knows somebody who does. You know, like that's as far removed as you can be from cancer because it's such a widespread thing. And not to compare my own people to a cancer, but there are just enough queer people within like the county limits that like if you're not gay or trans or bisexual or a lesbian or what have you, you know somebody who is, or you know somebody who knows somebody who is, or have like a family member or friend or whatnot. And so like that, the whole like homophobia thing honestly comes down to I hate gay people, except the ones that I know personally. They're pretty all right, you know, where like a lot of even like the actively homophobic people will still be pleasant, you know. And it's like, that still sucks. That still fucking blows. But, like, the hospitality that it's, like, built into people here just, like, wins out in the end, it seems. Where they're, like, willing to love thy neighbor a little more than in some areas, which is nice. Anyway, you were saying.
Maybe this makes me an asshole. That bugs me more, though.
Oh, yeah, that bothers the hell out of me. I'd rather somebody call me a slur to my face.
You. Yeah, grow a fucking spine or fucking deal with it. And that's kind of what I fell into, is that I fell into the punk movement a lot when I was first like finding out that I was queer and learning about queer people around me, of just like, yeah, fuck it. I'll fucking I have a patch on my jacket that's just like fucking, you know, trans rights and just a bunch of different patches of that sorts of thing. And I am in an area that has a lot of folks who are very red in their voting. And I get like scary dog privileges of being like a very large guy. So it's kind of fun just to like wear exactly how I feel and what I believe is right. And what I think that the majority of the population now believes is right, of just like queer people are fine. Who cares? And I feel kind of proud about being able to do that. But like, grow a fucking spine, prepare to like, you know, say a slur to someone's face, and I think that makes your face punched, you know?
I think that makes them slightly more reprehensible people, that they know it's wrong enough and are spineless enough that they're just like, oh yeah, but like this guy's okay. But I mean that like in a lot of cases, these people can be reasoned out of said homophobia. Is mostly what I'm pointing 100%. At. And even in those cases where like they can't be reasoned out of it and they'll still call you a slur the second you're out of the room, it's still less actionable. in my opinion,
Yeah.
where it's like not less actionable on my part, but they are less actionable as a person, where it's like it's much easier to shut that shit down, and it's a lot easier to establish queer spaces when you don't have like when you're not living in like a fucking sundown town or whatever, where they'll just
Yeah.
like murder anybody who's a little bit different,
Like
you know, when
there's not a
nobody's
concern
looking.
about hate crimes.
No,
Again,
nobody.
and like
I'm not saying nobody's getting hate crimed though, because like
Oh, yeah.
I am a cis gay man who is not super outwardly gay. Like I'm a very Where's
Mhm.
Waldo gay, where it's like you could find out that I'm gay if you know what you're looking for. Like anybody who
Where's Waldo
is
gay?
queer will look at my fashion sense or see me simply existing in public and go like, oh yeah, that guy's not straight, you know. Especially because my husband is never more than a few feet away from me, but but more so that like. You know, I get the privilege of camouflage a little bit, where it's like I don't really
Yeah.
wear pride gear anywhere. You know, when it's out of season, like if I'm at like a thing, I'll wear gear. I just usually don't wear stuff like that, just because it doesn't fit my style as super often. But like you know,
Yeah.
and I feel no
That's
need to
the-
buy it. You know, most of the time, because most of the people selling it are very corporate, just like, oh, Target wants to make a quick buck off of me being a homosexual. I don't really need a pin that bad.
Pro tip: buy pins off of Etsy from small.
Oh yeah,
queer...
Etsy is the place to go. But like, I hate ordering on Etsy. It's such a like a finick
it is a pain
of
in the
just
ass.
like, oh no, am I actually gonna receive this product? You know?
But yeah, like that's why I really do appreciate it, is because I am a very like I'm ace arrow. So it's like I'm not going on dates with men or anything, and I'm not, you know, gender queer in any way, other than just like I really don't care what you call me. I prefer he him, but I don't care.
Right.
So like there are a lot of people who get like nervous around me about being themselves, and I've had a couple of different people come up to me and be like, "Hey, I really like your patches. They help me understand that you're a safe person to be around." And it's like, that's awesome. I like that.
I like
and
it
like
when
that
that's the case. I like it when people acknowledge me as someone who is one of the okay ones, you know?
Yeah.
Like one of the
Yeah.
people they can come to and exist around, because like I don't know, I fear sometimes I fear being seen as unsafe is the thing, because I wouldn't hurt a fucking
same.
fly, you know. I'm not against anybody, but I just have a very mean face. I think
have
my
that
natural
issue
resting
as well.
position is like my brow is always just a little bit furrowed if I'm not actively making a face to do anything about it. And so it looks like I'm looking on at whatever I happen to be zoning out toward in like abject disgust and judgment.
Yeah, like I have that as well. And like mine's almost elevated to the degree that I am like, you know, a very large guy.
Yeah, so it
if
matters
some
a little bit more.
6'4" broad ass motherfucker looks at you like he's going to fucking rip your head off, that shit's horrifying. And I don't want to scare anybody. But like, yeah, I the political signage that I was talking about, we got on a tangent.
Oh, right, we got off on a tangent. I love it when we do that. That means we have less show to fill.
That's great.
Go ahead, political signage.
There's been a couple going around town that are just the most unga bunga Trump signs, and I kind of love it. They literally just say Donald Trump,
think I've seen these.
More crime, Kamala, or no, Donald Trump less crime, Kamala more crime, or Donald Trump less taxes, Kamala more taxes, and that is the entire sign.
Well, I don't know. Those signs, I saw those on Twitter recently. And they are very unga bunga. But I saw them and I was like, this, I don't know. You put a like a Kamala Harris more taxes sign. It looks like you're campaigning for Kamala to be elected and raise taxes. Yeah. What are you talking about? This is like if you're missing the adjoining sign, it's like walking around with like in an "I'm with stupid" shirt, but the other guy isn't standing beside you, and it's like this just makes no fucking sense now. This doesn't make any goddamn sense.
It's like wearing the other one, the "I'm stupid" shirt. So it's just like you don't have the "I'm with stupid" and then the "I'm stupid" joke. It's just like, man, you're just saying you're stupid. It's confusing. But like
it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Those signs are so fucking funny. Just like fucking unga bunga, just like Donald Trump good, Kamala bad.
Yeah,
just, you know, I can appreciate the grind, but Oh man, that's been our politics segment. Do you have anything more that you want to say about that?
No, but I do have a cool segue of speaking of people who are spineless, homophobic, and very hateful.
Have fun.
Sneeko
Ooh.
got banned on like every social media. He got like what I like to call the Alex Jones treatment, where he's just
Excellent.
gone on every platform. And I think he like said something on a stream, or like he tweeted something that like set off like a chain reaction of just like, oh, we don't want this guy on our fucking website, you know, which rarely happens, dude. He is a kick streamer by trade right now. Do you know how fucking dumb and how awful of a thing you have to say for Kick to get rid of you? They'll take anybody, dude. What did you do? You know,
like the only person that I've heard them ban was somebody who like publicly endangered people by going like 150
the guy who
miles
went
an hour
like 150
down
a highway during a hurricane while on his phone looking at chat and then crashed his fucking car. Like, like that's like, and again, you have to draw a hard line somewhere, and I think the line lies well before that, but Kick doesn't. You know, like they've only gotten rid of people for legal liability of just like, well, we can't have this guy because he's going to get us sued, you know, but anything short of that, sure. But I'm still unclear as to what exactly Sneeko did to have this happen to him. And I don't think I want to repeat what he did anyway, even if I knew. But he's like gone on everything but Rumble. Do you know about Rumble? I found out about Rumble somewhat recently. Not because of this.
Isn't that like the alt-right?
It's like YouTube, but for alt-right people who have been... It's like the Kick of YouTube. Kick is to Twitch as Rumble is to YouTube, you know? Where, like, that's the place where content creators who can't make a living anywhere else go, basically. And so it just, like... I've never had any interest in Kick or Mixer or any of these other, like, live streaming platforms other than, like, Twitch and YouTube. Because it's like, dude... You know what you have to... Yeah, like, nobody has any reason to use this over Twitch unless they've been banned on Twitch. And so what it's going to do is it's going to just cultivate those types of people. And that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what those communities will become. And I don't know. I don't like that shit. But he's on Rumble now, and he's like, gone. Okay?
Yeah, anti-Semitic sentiments is why he got kicked from Kick. He was banned on YouTube a while ago.
Saying, like... I couldn't find anywhere saying, like, what exactly he said. Okay. But he was banned on YouTube a while ago? That wasn't part of it?
He was banned on YouTube a while ago, and then the ban got lifted accidentally, and he got banned, like, hours later. And then Twitch was like, oh, shit, YouTube just rebanned him? Oh, fuck, we should ban him as well. And their reasoning was extremely hateful content. So it's like, they all just kind of had, like, a public consensus of just like, all right, yeah, we're done.
God,
You're done.
I'm imagining that conversation at YouTube of just like, hey, did you guys hit the big unban Sneeko button? Fucking flip the lever back!
What? I told you not to put the unban Sneeko button in the break room, dude.
Well, one of the interns hit it, I guess. God damn it!
Why did we have it in the first place? Why is it only for Sneeko?
That's ridiculous. That's such a funny idea. Gosh.
That's a funny concept.
But no, yeah, he's like banned on all platforms, and he's on Rumble now, I guess. But like, I gotta wonder what the view numbers are like on Rumble. I gotta wonder, like, what kind of
switching.
No. I'm thinking about just like how many. I've never heard of anybody using Rumble. I haven't even heard of Rumble up until like a couple months ago. Like one time in passing about how it's like an alt-right platform where. Like where like it's like YouTube graveyard of people who have like gone to the dark side, you know? And so like I never hear about anybody using Rumble for anything casually if they don't make content there. Yeah. And so I'm sure it's a lovely place full of lovely people.
I looked up Rumble, and the first thing that I'm looking at is Joe Rogan and Donald Trump live. Episode reaction from The Quartering, like known alt-right channel, like, from what I understand.
Are we just like doing a bingo? What the fuck? Joe Rogan and Donald Trump live reaction by The Quartering. Like, it just sounds like you just started listing the most like alt-right people you could think of in a moment. Oh absurd. My Christ.
Joe Rogan's one of those spineless assholes that I hate, though, because he claims to be leftist, and he doesn't agree with any of the alt-right people, but he gives them a platform, and it's dumb fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. He'll talk with anybody as long as they'll like abide his like DMT and like talk and like get in the weeds with him about some stupid shit that like doesn't matter to anybody. Not even like the fun kind of stupid shit, but just like fucking boxing matchups and shit. Like
Yeah.
and talking about like going to Neil deGrasse Tyson and going like, "Hey, what's space?" And Neil deGrasse Tyson will give like an answer like an asshole, you know how he is. He's not like a bad guy to my knowledge. He's just like a kind of like a dick. But he's just like, "Oh yeah,
he knows
space.
a lot and he acts like it."
The thing about space is that it's full of stars." And then Joe Rogan will go, "Whoa, dude," being the perfect audience member to like a patronizing dickhead like that. It's not that Neil deGrasse Tyson knows a lot and knows he knows a lot. He's just insanely patronizing about everything.
He is.
He is.
He's very
tweets
like,
shit.
Think about the stars like animal crackers. And then consider, and it's like, my brother in Christ, I'm going in college right now.
This is why
watching this
is why
like,
you
doctors.
got like an astrophysics degree and not a fucking like poetry or fucking like philosophy degree, because you suck at it, dude. It's not your area.
Fucking child
but he talks about it.
He
talks about it with like that level of reverence of just like everything he says, whether it's in his area or not, is said with that same "I have a PhD in this, you cannot object" kind of like phrasing.
And don't get me wrong,
that's where my issue arises.
He's good at explaining things to people who know like nothing.
He's a good Bill Nye,
with children.
Yeah, he's a good Bill Nye like co-host, but he's not somebody who needs to speak to me about how a car engine works or like why my feet stink. Like I know those things, dude. I went to 7th grade too. Like I don't need this shit.
He doesn't like he doesn't understand that there are adults watching him more than likely. Like,
well, no, he like
no
goes
child
to like he'll speak to adults to their face like that.
Yeah.
It's like, dog, I don't get it unless you're Joe Rogan who eats that shit up apparently.
Whoa.
But I just don't get it.
How do you think DMT factors into how the stars work?
Like he'll have somebody like Neil deGrasse Tyson on and who can just talk for hours. And all he'll do is go, "So aliens?" And then Neil deGrasse Tyson will go on a 2-hour spiel about how aliens might maybe somewhere exist somehow, and somehow be like doomer and hopecore at the same time about it. And it'll only be punctuated by the occasional Joe Rogan, no, that's crazy. I know a guy who did mushrooms once, and he said something similar. Like it's just that kind of commentary. I don't get the Joe Rogan experience as a podcast. I don't understand it.
We should. I
think he has some pretty interesting guests on occasionally, but like I don't know. We should take over for Joe Rogan. He should let us.
We've been playing a lot of Dragon Ball recently, and I'm thinking we do like a fusion dance.
Ball now?
No, I'm saying we do a fusion dance, and then we become Joe Rogan. Like that's what happens to us.
You think we just become Joe Rogan if we fuse together? I hope not.
I think so.
I hope I'm not like. I hope my like peak form when combined with another human being of like I'd say equivalent
let alone your
power
like best
mentally.
Friend.
Like I wouldn't like to think about the two of us combining to become Joe Rogan. Mostly because of the weird nipple thing that he's got going on, but also because like
thing? Oh yeah, they're like
you've not seen that image of his fucking nipples? Jesus,
we have a channel in our private Discord that has like a fucking hidden channel that's there.
Yeah, it's like a thread channel from when they added those. Those just like linger.
Yeah, they do. They stay forever. We thought they would go away, but we've permanently added Joe Rogan's nipples to our our channel list.
God.
But oh man,
you want to keep saying "but" or do you want to actually transition to a different topic now?
Oh well, speaking of Dragon Ball, I've been playing Sparking Zero. Vox has been playing Sparking Zero. I didn't want to move on yet. I wasn't sure what you wanted to do, so I was letting.
Well, you're just like spinning your fucking wheels and going, but, and it's like, dude, I got nothing more to add about Joe Rogan.
Okay, Rogan is dead. Now we're
talking about Dragon Ball.
Yes, I know. Okay, I have been really enjoying it. How have you been feeling about Sparking Zero?
I think it's fun. I think I'm having fun with it. I don't think I'm having $70 worth of fun with it. I think if I spent the actual $70 that this video game costs, I would be a little upset that
Yeah.
this is all
So.
I got for it. But Jed bought it because we talked about it vaguely. We talked about it vaguely a
Mhm.
couple weeks ago. And Jed was like, we talked about it, and then we talked about some like Next Fest Steam demo that was available also that
Yeah.
same night. And I forgot what the Dragon Ball game was called. And so a couple days later, not weeks, days, like that like following week sometime, Jed was like, "Hey, you still interested in playing Sparking Zero at some point?" And I thought Sparking Zero was like the weird little like demo we were talking about that is free, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, I might pick it up, but you know, depends. What are you thinking?" And then he was like, "Check your Steam." And I looked over, and Jed had paid $140 to buy himself and me a copy of this video game.
Well, it was my birthday.
Yeah, it was
And the
birthday
way that I
money.
see
It
it-
wasn't your money.
The way that I see it is that what I wanted for my birthday was to play a video game with my friend, and the way to do that was to spend $140.
God,
Um,
Jesus, I never let you beat the rich allegations, Jed. I never let you beat the
this
rich
one's pretty
allegations. 'Cause
fair. This one's very fair.
this one is less fair because I don't know, man. Every dime I get is real money to me instantaneously because it's just like, dude, I need that
Yeah.
extra $100. That extra $100 is the difference between like not me going hungry or not because I always budget properly for those things. But like this is like the only $100 I'll have for a while that's just completely
Yeah.
spare, and I'd like to hold on to it and spend it sparingly. But like speaking of your rich allegations, we're talking about the fact that I
Okay.
was just like, you're moving in January. I'm moving too, but I'm moving slightly sooner than you. And your move consists of I'm gonna pack up all my shit into the car, and then I'm gonna get in my big Ford F-150 and drive across the country. And it's like it's a
Mhm.
brand new vehicle, so it's perfectly suited for that. It shouldn't need like a
not
tune-up
quite
or
brand
anything.
new, but
Well, it's
yeah.
straight off the goddamn
new to
lot,
me.
Jed. But like it might be used, but again, it's straight off the lot, so it's had all the work done to it that is necessary for a while. And so like you're gonna pack up and leave. And Jed was like, "Should I buy a new Stream Deck?" And I was like, I mean, you probably shouldn't because a Stream Deck is like $100. And I know you said you have all the money you need for the move, but what if you like pop a tire or something on the way here and have to stop in the middle of bumfuck nowhere at some like sleazy little mechanic shop where they know you're from out of town, and you're like, "Hey, I popped my tire on the way up here," and I don't know why you developed like a little Italian lady accent on the way over there, but popping your tire has just shocked you so much you've developed it, and you go,
Yeah.
I popped my tire on the way up here. Can you help me? And
this
they're like,
offensive?
I don't. I mean, Italian people are like white, right?
Yeah,
close
I think
enough.
so. Kind of.
I'm a little bit. I got like a bit of Italian in me. I'm allowed. But what was I
Yeah.
saying? Oh, right. And then the guy behind the guy behind the counter, or more accurately, under the existing like Ford Taurus that's in the fucking thing or whatever, getting serviced, rolls himself out from under there after like fucking rooting around in there and just goes, "You need new tire, huh? That'll cost you $4 billion, city boy." And then you have to give him like a shitload of money out of nowhere to get your tire changed because, like, what else? This is the only place for fucking miles, and I'm not driving on a flat tire to the next town over. And so you have to pay him up, and then you have to your way away, or call AAA or whatever. But like then you have to like your way away, being like a couple $100 short, and then you can't make it because you're a couple $100 short, and you got to call your mommy and get a wire transfer, aka fucking PayPal. And then it's like, "Mommy, I need a couple $100, mommy, please. I had a flat tire, mother, please."
I didn't
then
know
you do
this is
that.
what you were concerned about.
This is what
Sorry, keep going.
I walked you through almost this exact same story
Yeah,
without
that
the
this could
accents.
happen, and I said it would be fine. Yeah, no,
And then
the
you
accents are really doing it for me.
and then you were like, "Oh, mommy, please! I'm in the middle of Arkansas, and they hate me here. Please!" I don't know how you would have ended up in Arkansas.
I drive in Arkansas?
You would not. No, Arkansas is like north of you. I think. I'm pretty sure. Like it's somewhere in the
No.
middle. It's not. It's somewhere in the
Arkansas.
middle. It is.
I
It's
think
not
it's
like.
Midwest.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. It's not like along your route. But you somehow made a turn into Arkansas, and you're sitting there on the side of the road.
It's right above Louisiana. We're dumb.
On the phone, and you're just like, "Oh, please, mother, please." And she's like, "I don't have $100. You're doomed. You're fucked, buddy." And then you have to like you have to, like, blow dudes behind the local Waffle House for a couple nights, and then you can get back on the road and make it. That's the kind of thing I was concerned about. I'm glad I could spin you this web in a way that works better for you. And
May
then,
I interest
and then you were
in
like,
the concept? Okay.
And then you were
ahead,
like,
go ahead.
no, that's a good point. That's a good point. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that. And then I hop in the call the next day, and you're like, so I'm setting up my stream deck that I just got in the mail, and it's like, you waited for me to leave and hit that buy now button, didn't you, you son of a bitch?
No.
And that gave me all the information I needed to know that, like, Jed is a rich bitch balling out of control, and, like, not only that, but, like, that's not the key operative factor here, is that, like, Jed has never experienced this kind of scenario before where he couldn't just, like, I'll just foot it. I'll just eat the couple $100 to get my fucking tire emergency swapped out of nowhere or patched or whatever. I'll just eat it, and then, like, I can recoup that later.
Here's the thing about that. I did not order it immediately after. I slept on it, and then I woke up, and then I went, oh yeah, I got a little something called CarMax warranty bullshit, which is like, you pay a little bit extra up front and they will do any repairs for like a marginal charge for you. Like just about any repairs that aren't
a CarMax facility, not at like every mechanic shop ever.
At every mechanic shop, as like at a CarMax, like a good CarMax one, whatever they recommend, it'll be quicker. But otherwise, you can just do it at any mechanic shop and then send them a claim and be like, hey, this is how much I paid for it. Have fun. And then they'll do it.
Yeah, but you still have to eat
like
that in the moment.
Repairs.
Like, they still, like, have to, like, wire your money to your bank account again. Like, you still have to foot it in the moment, is the issue. Like, I understand that later you will have $100 again, and it won't really matter. But the thing about it is just, like, you have to have that extra $100 worth of cushion in the moment for that to even be an option, is the thing.
Fair enough. I get what you mean.
That's the part that stressed
that's why
me.
I keep a
credit
card around.
No, yeah, and that makes sense. That makes sense. But, like, I don't know. I don't know. I just, like, I worry because I worry that I'm gonna get all moved into my new house and be snug as a bug in a rug when you decide to head over this way, and I go to sleep at, like, 6 a.m. and you're like, all right, bright and early, I'm getting on the drive. I'll be there in 2 days. See ya. And then, like, I'm gonna get a call, like, the next day at 5 p.m. that's like, yeah, so about that tire thing we were talking about 3 months ago.
Oh, also, I have a spare and just about everything I would ever need to fix my car.
And if something like that were to happen, I'll allow you one I told you so, or not one I told you so, but one being mad at me for willing that shit upon you accidentally by having this conversation. And then I will in turn allow myself an I told you so, and then we'll be even on the matter, and we could shake hands on it virtually over the telephone line, and then you could get
wait
back on your
like
way.
A day and a half, and then
I don't want to shake your hand a day and a half after that. It won't matter then.
Okay.
Handshakes have to be done in the moment. They matter.
I guess you're right.
But I could be crossing my fingers 2 days from now.
See, that's the other thing. You're a superstitious fuck. I wouldn't be able to call you out for being like, oh, you willed this upon me, because what the fuck do you mean you willed this upon me? I don't believe in that shit.
No, you seem to believe in that shit when it's convenient for you.
When was the last time I believed in that shit? Come on the spot,
I don't know.
go.
I could think of times, I can't think of specific times, but I can definitely remember times where you were like, oh shit, you fucking did this. You did this to me, you fuck.
Jokingly.
Like, in the moment. And it's like, yeah, suddenly it all matters to you.
Well, no, like, jokingly, because like...
I had a revelation about it recently. Because it's like, you think I'm very superstitious, and I don't get that. And I was thinking about voter fraud recently. Because I was thinking about, like, you know who does have a printer and could print out my absentee ballot request form? My family. And so I offered up, and I was like, hey, can I use your printer to print this? And it became like a bunch of like, oh, my printer's unplugged right now, and we'd have to set it up, and a bunch of like this and that, and what's and why fors. And so like I eventually was like, don't worry about it, actually. I'll just go vote. I don't fucking care. This is more hassle than I was ready to deal with. And because there are very paranoid people, and they were like, that seems like you're just inviting voter fraud to happen to you. And it's like, that's not, I don't think so. But then I thought about it the next day, and I was like, no, maybe it is better that I do it the way that I'm intending on doing it, of just going in anyway. Because again, that is, like, they have a point in that, like, by doing it via the mail, even though it is a, like, an entirely serious felony, and somebody would have to be real fucking like dirt dumb to do that shit. But I think I think adding more steps like that is just inviting something to happen to some degree. Where if like something did happen to my ballot, I could just go, I don't like to give people the opportunity to I told you so me, I think is the thing of just like, because if it turns out that for whatever reason we were the unlucky batch where it's like, yep, the mail truck got held up at gunpoint and exploded on the side of the road and blew every piece of mail to smithereens, and your ballot was lost in the fires and the flames, and 3 people died and 7 were injured, and one of them being a child. Then it's like, I could sit back at my desk and go, God damn it, they were right, and they told me so, and this is the worst thing to ever happen based on this explosion. You know?
Oh, man.
And I just don't want that to happen to me.
You call me paranoid. Call me paranoid.
Well, no, it's just like, call me paranoid. No, but like, that's what I'm saying is like, I come from a very paranoid people, so I'm very good at spotting it. And a lot of my shit is not necessarily from paranoia as much as just like, well, you know, I don't want I can call you, if you tell me that I have to do it this way because of voter fraud, you know, and all that like paranoid bullshit, and I don't do it that way, and I end up being the 1 in a billion case where voter fraud happens with my vote specifically, especially during such an important election, not only does that have repercussions, but also the crazy dumbass who was like, oh yeah, no, that's voter fraud could happen to you more likely by mail than it will by actually physically voting. Then I've just made them right, is the problem. I've just reaffirmed those crazy ass beliefs for them is the issue. And I like to I don't know. I like to be correct, and it's not so much about me being right as much as just like, I need people to see how fucking crazy they are. I need people to live less active lives in that regard of just like, I don't know. I believe, to some extent believe in luck, and I believe in like little things like that of just like, yeah, no, you know, via complete happenstance. I don't think there's some physical force consciously out there making those calls and coin flips of just like, am I going to walk down the sidewalk or am I going to trip into traffic? I don't think anybody's making that call necessarily. I just think that, you know, things tend to work out in a funny little way a lot of the times, and the human brain recognizes patterns very easily in things of just like, I don't know, it's easier for me to like navigate life that way, I think. I don't like think I have any genuine stock in it so much as it's just like almost therapeutic to point and go, fuck me, I'm wrong. You know, I fucked it again, didn't I? You know, or like, yes, I was right. I did it. I knew I was right. Those fucks, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just how it is. Anyway.
I'm like the exact opposite of that. I think it's just because I like grew up really religious where it's like, I don't fucking care. I'm the master of my own goddamn destiny. And if something breaks, it's because of happenstance, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I will gladly say like fucking, you know, oh, my computer is immortal and it will never go out ever, ever, ever. I'll gladly say that, even though, like, you know what?
That made me a little bit anxious for you to say that, because I genuinely had like a pit in my stomach moment of like, you know, it would be. I think that's also part of it, is that I'm so comedy brained of just like, now would be the greatest time in the world.
It would be
Jen's
fantastic
to stop working.
I think,
you know?
I think that if there was some higher power, I think that he's a fucking comedian at heart, and also like a massive fucking dickhead.
We don't need to get into your religious trauma for like the 50th time on this podcast. Quit it.
Sorry, it happened.
Quit it. Back it up. We don't need to talk about how God is an asshole because babies get cancer. Everybody's heard the spiel before. We don't need it.
Christ. All right.
Dear God. Because you're right. You're right. And that's the thing, is I completely agree with you. However,
I just say it a lot.
It's just preachy. It's just weirdly preachy for a guy who doesn't preach or listen to preachers, you know?
Fair enough. And it's less about preaching. But either way, like, next week, if my computer is a dud, or you know what, I'll give it a month. If within the month my computer goes dud, I'll concede. I'll say that you're right. And that there is some sort of higher power.
I'm not saying there's a higher power,
but there's like some sort of like karmic bullshit.
there's some level of like weird internal workings truth of just like, I don't know. And it's just like, I don't know. The thing about it to me is just like, whether I think there are little gnomes in the fucking soda dispenser, like the soda machine down by the laundromat, when I press the buttons, the little gnomes go around and carry a can out. You know, or whether I believe that, like, yeah, it's just like a mechanism. It drops a can down and it plops out the hole, and then I pick it up. And it's like, I don't know, I got a soda can either way. And the rest of it's like, you know, even though that's like provable by opening the soda machine, I can't open the soda machine right now. I can't say for certain that this isn't the one gnome run soda machine out there, you know, to the point where it's just like, I don't know.
They've been working hard at that.
Whether I believe
for like decades.
Yeah, whether I believe one thing or the other, it doesn't really matter so much as, like, you know, the soda comes out more often than it doesn't. And sometimes it doesn't. And that's very inexplicable for the gnome theory. But, you know, it's like, either way, there's a fault, you know, in it.
The gnome theory. Like, it's a real
gnome
thing.
Theory. Yeah, no, but, like, that's what I'm saying. It's just, like,
conspiracy.
The greater mechanisms of life that happen behind the curtain are well beyond me, and so it's much easier to come up with my own little fantastical beliefs, you know?
Yeah. I don't know, not superstitious, but I will concede within the month. But you know what I'll never concede on?
What do you never concede on?
Clanker. I think
Clanker. Okay, so let me can I fill in real quick? Let me inform you.
Fill him in.
So Tesla released a robot, or announced a robot that was like, hey, here's Tesla's Optimus bot. It can do just about everything. It's shaped like a man, it walks like a man, it talks like a man, it can make you drinks at the bar, it can play chess against you, and this and that. And it turns out it was just controlled by a human the whole time. There has to be like a human actively piloting it at all times, so it's fucking useless. It's just like a mechanical Turk. And so, like, you know, and so people were like, oh, that's fucking stupid. If these things ever came into fashion, I think we should come up with a slur for them. And I think it was a pretty funny bit. And so that's where the term, like, clanker has come back into fashion, which is a Star Wars thing, but, like, now it's not anymore.
Yeah. My issue with it is that there are a lot of people who are just, like, fucking, like, going for it. And while it's
very
not a real
gung-ho.
slur, while it's not a real slur, as someone who is a robot and really enjoys robots, I have kind of this weird, like, but, like, what if when they are real and we're the people who are saying it as jokes before it becomes, like an actual slur? And that's not my issue against it.
We're gonna seem like the people who, like, were making fun of people of color before they were, like, super duper, like, relevant and people. Members of society. Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying, is, like, pre-slave. We're saying the N-word pre-slave trade, dude. We're, like, trend-settingly racist right now by saying clanker, I think.
Like, yeah.
Which is funny. And not really. I don't think that it'll really amount to anything. But, like...
No, I don't think so. But, like, my issue is more so that, like, it feels kind of like a way for people to just, like, go at it and like, say something vitriolic because they want to, without being, you know, seen as someone saying something vitriolic in a bad way. And, like, I don't mean to say, like, anybody who makes a clanker joke is a bad person. I just more so mean, like, it's just kind of a skis for me.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I think it's a little silly to carry it that far. However, I do get the skeeziness of it. In like an intrinsic sense of, like, first off, I want to say it's just a fun little bit. It doesn't really matter. It's grand scheme, it's fine. However, I've run into one too many people who are far too comfortable letting clanker slip out of their mouth. Like, the second the bit, like, it seems like every time I bring this up, it's like, oh yeah, have you guys heard that there's, like, a slur for robot? Oh, clanker? You mean clanker? And it's like, okay, dude, all right, back it up. Pack it in, please.
Like, yeah, I think it's also,
and that's not pointed at anybody in particular, by the way. That just, like, because, like, that has happened, like, 5 or 6 times now, and it's just like, Jesus Christ.
It's a funny enough bit. I think it's also because I play a lot of robot characters, so, like, it's one of those things where it's like, man, if somebody started calling me Dweebus, that doesn't mean anything. Nobody gives a shit on what dweebus means. But if you're singling me out and calling me a dweebus, I'm gonna be kind of upset by it, mildly. You know,
You're hurt by it because you feel like it's singling you out, not because it's like actually really offensive in any meaningful way. And I get that. That's understandable.
Yeah, and like again, I'm not genuinely hurt by it. It's not like anybody who's called me a clanker jokingly
No.
is
Like you told me privately that you like after last time it happened, you went to bed post stream and you curled up in the fetal position and cried and then passed out and then woke up and cried some more and then passed out and then woke up
fired
again,
and then I missed.
And then your pants were wet and you were shitting and pissing and crying and liquids were coming out of every orifice and it was real gross and nasty. Okay. And then you got out of bed, got a shower, and came into the podcast, right?
God damn it, why did you set me up for a segue?
What do you mean set you up for a segue? Shitting and pissing is your segue? Shitting and pissing. Shitting and pissing is how you're going to maneuver to the next topic. Okay, I gotta hear this. This has got to be fucking good. All right.
Dexter Morgan.
Okay. I know where this is going.
So on TikTok lately, the Dexter Show has been fucking popping the fuck off. The Dexter Show. It sounds like it's a goddamn talk show, but no, the Dexter Show, because there is a novel, and from what Vox has said, it's pretty good.
The Dark Passenger.
Yeah. I've heard it's pretty good, but like people have been doing this meme on TikTok using Dexter as like a.
They've like combined Dexter. They've combined Dexter and that old pooping bandit story about the kid in high school who like shit around the school and the faculty just never found him out and he started like shitting in more and more exaggerated like terrible places like on the principal's desk and shit. And it's a pretty funny, entertaining meme story, I think. It's a good copy pasta, but people have been like combining that like lengthy saga and like reframing Dexter, who is like in the show. This is the premise, so I don't think it's really spoilery to say that like Dexter is a murderer who works as a blood splatter analyst for the police, and so like he is a murderer surrounded by people whose whole job it is to catch murderers, and so he ends up in some pretty tight spots because of it, and so people have been seeing the similarities and sort of like mashing it together to create like. Oh, he's the Bay Harbor shitter. He fucking like he poops in the urinals and nobody catches him because he's a straight A student and like a member of the student
and his
council.
Brown passenger makes him.
Okay, all right.
You haven't heard that one?
I haven't heard Brown passenger. However, I don't, and I don't think we should follow the clanker bit by saying Brown passenger.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay, look, I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one who heard that and was like, whoa.
This has been such a terminology
they're using. Yeah, no, we've had some close calls. We talked politics for a little bit, and then which wasn't really that close of a call, but is generally like a subject people avoid on these kinds of shows. And then we talked about like robophobia, and now we're talking about brown passenger, as in like the shitting context. Oh,
but
man.
When I segued into this, I was like, "Why the fuck did you give me a segue?" Because prior to stream, I was talking about it, and Vox had sent me one of these brown passenger videos on TikTok, and I was like, "I'm putting that on my topics list." And I was like, right at the very end, just in case if we run out of topics, I'll bring up brown passenger.
And so you brought it up early.
Okay. Yeah, well, because Vox is like, okay, if you bring up the urinal shitter, I'll know that like. You're done and you don't have any more topics. I still have topics left. You
didn't have to segue into it. You should have. You should have passed up on it. I swear to God, dear viewer, may I remind you, if you tell Jed a plan, if you in confidence come up with a plan with Jed, he will find some level, and I'm actually mad here. This isn't bit anger. He will find some level of like horrifically roundabout reason why he can't follow the plan. Oh, it's what my character would do. Or, oh, you gave me a segue that was too good to pass up on. I can't remember the last time I told you to fucking do something and you did it. I can't remember. And it's not even just me. It's not like, you must obey me, as much as just like, I don't get it. Because sometimes you set these boundaries in place for yourself where it's like, okay, at 6 minutes and 45 seconds, I need to get up and grab a water. So can you speak between 6 minutes and 45 seconds and 7 minutes, please? And I'll like work real hard and remember, and I'll because like both of our memories are pretty much shot most of the time, and so like it's hard to like keep up with that kind of fact if it's happening more than like 10 minutes out. But I'll remember on time, and I'll commit to it, and I'll start talking, and then you'll go into the mic or some shit actively while I'm trying to speak, and then go, okay, I'm gonna go get my water now, and it's like, that is the level of shit I deal with on a daily fucking basis.
But, segue. The segue was funny.
You have no defense. I have no defense. You have no defense. There is no recourse here that you could possibly take that would make you sound any better than you currently do.
No, yeah, my defense is brown passenger funny.
Okay. All right. That's enough of that. That's enough of that.
That's the end of that topic.
But speaking of characters that are traditionally brown but aren't associated with pooping and shitting super often, the head of Xbox recently said in relation to Rareware, quote, "Nobody cares about Banjo-Kazooie." This was a real thing that he said. Oh, did you think I was going for the head of Microsoft is brown?
Yes.
Oh my God. I don't want to do this show with you anymore.
My eyes.
I don't know that I want to do this show with you anymore. I think you just want to get me back. I think you just wanted to get me back for like saying that brown passenger sounds a little yikesy. I think you just wanted to find a way to make me look just as bad today. Okay, but no, he said nobody cares about Banjo-Kazooie, and this is like a little while after Nintendo put out Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie out on Switch Online or whatever it is these days, the N64 Switch Online service where you can play those games, and it launched to like an amazing success, and people really love Banjo-Kazooie in Smash. Like those two worked really well in Smash, even though they're not really a fun character to play in my opinion, but they exist and they're all right. It's a good addition. I don't mind. It's definitely a different play style, and that's good enough for me. But like, to say that nobody cares about Banjo-Kazooie was kind of a silly thing to say before he said it, but after he said it, all the, like, millions of people who like Banjo-Kazooie were like, hey, buddy, then why did you buy the Banjo-Kazooie company? I don't understand why you would do that. Well, because they make more than Banjo-Kazooie is the thing. But, like, the primary thing is just, like, it was proven just how, like, wrong he was about that by, like, the level of outrage of people who cared about Banjo-Kazooie wandering up from the woodwork and going, hey, I like Banjo-Kazooie. Why would you say that? You know, just like being mean and rude. Banjo-Kazooie is my comfort character. They are together my comfort character.
Yeah, sometimes I forget they aren't one.
That's dumb.
I've never played a Banjo-Kazooie game.
That's real dumb, Jed. But
it's like one word, man. Banjo-Kazooie.
May I point? It's 2 words. It's hyphenated because it's Banjo and Kazooie, but it's like pronounced Banjo-Kazooie. But speaking of 2 characters in a video game, that was a real short topic, just because I don't really have anything to add about it as much as I just wanted to talk about how crazy of an event that was this week.
Yeah. Banjo.
Can we talk about Sonic X Shadow Generations and how fucking stupid that shit is?
I've not seen anything about it. Fill me in.
Okay. So, people like... Okay, so Sonic fans are eating the same slop they've been eating for a decade, is what I've surmised. Yep. Of just, like, I don't know. It seems like every time... Maybe I'm crazy here, but it seems like every time that Sega has, like, hit like a rock with the Sonic franchise, they go, okay, how can we re-release Generations again? How can we just do Generations again? And sometimes the answer to that is, I'd like to make classic Sonic a playable character in this awful, awful game. Or sometimes the answer is, I just will put it out on the 3DS. And sometimes the answer is just throw Shadow in it and call it a day.
Yeah. Fuck it.
I'm unclear on if Shadow Generations is, like, the same game, just with Shadow story in it, too, or if it's, like, its own sequel game, but my point stands of, like, they find a new way to do Sonic Generations over again and again and again for the 50th fucking time, anytime that they're just out of ideas. Even when they're coming off of a success, like Sonic Frontiers, which was I don't think it was really a financial success, actually, but it seems like Sonic fans really loved it. But it's just like I don't really get why this is so well received. They're just doing what they did in like 2013 again for like the 5th time since then. Like I don't see how like the Skyrim re-releases get shit, but this does. Because at least they're adding something, sure, and some of those Skyrim editions added things. And I guess there have been more of those, and so that's why, is because there's an egregious amount of fucking Skyrim re-releases. But I guess there have been more of those, but it's starting to become a pattern now.
It is, yeah. Like, you need to, Sega, please, as avid watchers of the show, which we know that the Sega developers are, please make an original game that is, you know, a good game again. Do it again. Keep doing it. In fact, that's how being a game company works. Make an original game, make it good, and people will like it. And there you go.
Sega, you want to know why I'll never compete with Nintendo? You got one franchise, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why you've never been able to, and that's why you never will. Why do you leave so much of your shit out to dry? You have so many good things. You have so many cool toys. You have so many cool toys, but you only pick one every single time out of the toy box, and you wonder why people are beginning to get bored with you in general. When like the lows hit, Sonic is all you fucking have. Like, he's not all you have, but he's the only piece on the board you will ever move is the problem.
Yeah. He's your queen, and you refuse to fucking move any other ones, and you're playing like weird defensive positions that don't really get you anywhere. You know,
like nobody's begging for a new Alex Kidd game, but you've got other stuff. Come on,
Nights into Dreams, from what I understand, is something people like. Is that what it's called? I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know.
But like I've heard a lot of people really enjoy that franchise. Do something with that. Come on, you'll find a cult following.
Come on, you can do something with that, or like Crazy Taxi, or fucking.
Yeah, they do like arcade machines. Now that I went to an arcade recently, there's a surprising amount of Sega-based arcade machines.
Yes, but in the home video game market, you know, I think you can cash in the nostalgia for Echo the Dolphin, maybe. I think you could get away with that. Echo the Dolphin. Everybody knows about Echo the Dolphin.
I have no fucking clue who that is.
Don't worry about it. They're releasing Yakuza games. I forgot they had Yakuza, so they have that too.
Yeah, they have Yakuza. And they have like the Hatsune Miku rhythm games. That's something they do.
Jet Set Radio, you could fucking do another Jet Set Radio game. People have been begging for a new Jet Set game for like years. Monkey Ball, they still release a Monkey Ball every now and again.
Yeah,
not nearly as often as they do with Sonic. But again, they just like refuse to pull some of their heavy hitters out to play. Like fucking Golden Axe. People like Golden Axe. That's kind of like an underground-ish one. That's more like a thing for like arcade fans than like home console fans. But people like Golden Axe. You could fucking put out another Golden Axe or something. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing fucking around with this hedgehog? Go fucking make a new game. Or alternatively, make a new IP. Yeah, let's see you do that, Sega. Let's see you accomplish one of those. I don't know.
Yeah.
God.
They will not. And you know, I'm sorry, Sega listeners. People working at Sega, we hate you.
Yeah, we have a great disdain for you as people, just like as a whole. But that's a different conversation for a different time. Sega we should come up with a slur for Sega employees. No,
let's not come up with slurs for anybody.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't. But alternatively, let's talk about a game company that does have more than one franchise, but also like instead chooses to release nothing instead.
All right.
Valve finally fixed Scout's pants in TF2.
Like the coloring thing?
Yeah, the thing where like Blue Scout was also wearing the Red Scout pants for all these years.
Why?
Like for like over a decade now. They finally fixed it.
Why'd they even bother now? It's kind of part of Scout at this point.
Nah, they did it. They gave him the blue pants now. And I don't mind it. It looks better.
Like, I don't mind it. I'm not mad. I just kind of have this. I heard that it just feels like a bizarre
I'm
thing.
hearing all kinds of stories, and I'm sure they're exaggerated. I've heard that for a fact it broke a few cosmetics off the boot. Like it could, that like rely on that pants texture. It broke a couple of those. And then it apparently froze a bunch of games in place today. Like, okay, so apparently there was an issue, right? Because somebody was talking about it yesterday, where and we're recording this day of. That's why I keep saying today, by the way. But somebody said they were playing TF2 yesterday, and in the middle of like a 24/7 match of 2 Fort, the whole game froze in place for a good 5 minutes. And then everybody, once it came back, the second it came back, nobody was fighting anymore. Everybody just kind of stopped on the battlefield and like looked around and was like, oh, what the fuck was that? What happened? You know? And I think that was really funny. I thought that was a really funny anecdote, and someone was like, that's when they fixed Scout's pants, I bet. And that's so fucking funny to imagine that like every active game of TF2 basically had the fucking e-brake pulled on it for a good 5 minutes so they could swap out a pants texture.
Like that time in World War I where everybody like stopped fighting to like sing something.
The pants
sing like
armistice.
Christmas songs. Yeah. No, they just had that moment, and then they went immediately back to fucking, you know, heavy
And then
TF2
back to
scream.
it. You know, like, "Rah!" You know, they went back right to it, back to where they were.
I wouldn't have.
Yeah, no, I try every now and again. You know, I'm known to
try heavy scream?
I'm known to make an attempt at things. But no, yeah, they finally fixed the pants, and that's been a big meme today of just like, haha, Scout's got his blue pants on now. Let's see somebody talk bad about how TF2 doesn't get updates anymore. We got a bug fix 17, 18 years on.
What a bizarre thing to update though. Like, it genuinely, who the fuck would give a shit? Who the fuck does give a shit? In fact, I think it became
it's
like
always
kind of
bothered me. It's always kind of bothered. Not enough that
like.
Not enough to be super bothered by it, but it's TF2 as a game, minus any cosmetics you might put on them. I feel like not class recognition as much as just like team recognition of just like, that is a red team member and that is a blue team member, and you could not possibly mistake the two. You know, like the color balancing is done just right, where like, you know, Spy on the blue team is all blue tones, and then Spy on the red team is all warm tones, and there's just no way to mix that up. It's pretty recognizable. It's a game that prides itself on its like character silhouettes and team recognition, and so like to have such like a huge glaring blind spot is kind of silly. And I thought they had just put it to rest as part of the game, like you said, of just like, oh well, his pants are just like that now. But no, they finally fixed it, and I honestly am happy for it. I think it makes it a better game, but I think it's one less little haha. Remember when they forgot to set the right pants texture, and it's still like that to this goddamn day. Just because somebody forgot and never noticed.
Yeah, I can't help but have the like Minecraft like, oh, you did this, but you couldn't have added 10 billion new biomes to the end. Where it's like, I don't know. I know bug fixes are a lot easier, but I just had this moment where I was like, you couldn't have fucking, like, I don't know, added a cosmetic with it?
I don't know, Jed. Do you mind if I walk you through something real quick?
You know time frames? Yeah, no, I'm aware.
No. You know how many people have worked on TF2 in the past 3 years? Like,
like,
this summer update?
Hold on, I think I know.
1.
I think I know. Oh, I thought it was 2.
Well, it's somewhere in the like 3 to 4 range if you include everybody worked, but it had 1 lead developer and that was it for a sizable amount of that. Like I had a lead developer and that was it, who did upkeep and updates for TF2 for a while. And it's just like, yeah, Valve should have like gotten more shit done for that. But yeah, you know, what can you do? We are getting the 7th TF2 comic though. We're getting the ending to that finally. So that's fun.
Yeah, hype about that.
Yeah, very hype about that. Can't wait.
Can't wait, because the TF2 comics are good, and they just kind of abandoned them for no reason. But I like how we found out that they were coming out. Have we told that story on the podcast? I think we have.
We haven't told that story on the podcast, but I'll tell it now, I guess.
Yeah, tell it now.
Like a fan group reaching out and going, hey, I'm running a fan initiative for TF2, and we want to do a continuation of the comic where we write our own ending. You know, and we have like a team of artists and writers ready to do it. We just wanted to get Valve official blessing on it. Would you mind, as the head developer of TF2, would you mind giving us the go ahead on that? You know, to make that as like a fan project unofficially. And the guy was just like, I mean, you're welcome to do that if you want. However, we did, funnily enough, actually start working on this 6 months ago. Again, and here's like the first page of the script, and then here's a few panels from the actual comic. Enjoy. And that's all we've heard for months. So my best summation is either A, work has been halted on it, or B, it's coming out probably sometime next year. So that'll be great.
Yeah. What a chill ass thing to do, by the way, just to be like, hey, I like your interest in this. Here, to like satiate you, take some early screenshots because you're so like dedicated to the point where you wanted to make this, you know?
Yeah,
I think
no,
that's a
Valve
really
has
cool
kind
thing.
of always been that way on like a
Yeah.
level of just like, you reach out to somebody at Valve and they'll usually get back to you
Yeah.
and tell you what they
Uh,
can about a given thing. That's why Valve journalism is such a widespread thing, because like anybody can go, hey, I'm a shitty crackpot YouTube journalist. You wanna like tell me about the Zen gorilla?
oh yeah, the Zen gorilla. Holy shit. You just beamed like the idea of the Zen gorilla into my head.
Yeah, no, something that's probably coming
Have we
in
seen the Zen gorilla?
White Sands. No, it's a thing that we've only heard
Okay.
referred to in code for the next Half-Life game, or the version of the next Half-Life game that's in development right now, which is
Yeah.
interesting. I can't wait. But no, yeah, Scout finally got his pants.
Wow. Scout no longer can shit his pants and get away with it on both teams.
He can water his pants though and get away with it.
Water isn't really even like a dark blue. He could like spill blue
He
food
could
coloring
Baja
on his
Blast
pants.
his pants and get away with it.
Yeah. Although a man never Baja blasts and tells. That's a gentleman's
No,
rule.
no,
Vox.
of course not. I just finished a Baja Blast actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Can we talk about Baja Blasts? And like you talked about it recently. Are they like not like exclusive anymore? Do they just sell them now?
Yeah, they sell them in cans at my local grocery store. I don't know if that's everywhere, because they're usually like a seasonal thing where like occasionally Mountain Dew will just roll out like, all right, been kind of a rough sales month, so we're gonna pop Baja Blast back on the shelves for another month, and then we'll take it away again, like the
Popping a
McRib.
Baja Blast.
But like our grocery store just always has them. They're just consistently available. And I don't go to multiple grocery stores really, so I haven't had the opportunity to really look and see if they're anywhere else. And I don't get out of town, and when I do get out of town, I don't go, oh shit, I gotta stop by the local Kroger and see if they have Baja Blast. You know?
Who gives a shit?
Like, who could possibly care enough to do that? But, like, I don't know. They're just kind of around for me now, and that's great. I like a good Baja Blast. In fact, it's made me more joyous about the Baja Blast, because a lot of people like the Baja Blast.
Oh, joyous day. Baja
But when
Blast.
I get Taco Bell, I get a Taco Bell, I get a Baja Blast, obviously. But everybody's like, oh, the Baja Blast is honestly the best part of the Taco Bell meal. And it's like, I think it's just because the rest of the Taco Bell meal is just kind of all right. But like for a $2 burrito, I can't complain, you know? To the point where it's just like, I don't really like love Baja Blast like everybody else seems to. But, I've had it canned now, and I'm starting to realize that it's just our local fucking Taco Bell, and every other Taco Bell I've been to suffers from soda fountain problem, where the mixture's just a little bit off every now and again. I hate that, by the way. We live in the year of our Lord 2024 and almost 2025. Can we please, and I beg, please lock in on how the fuck to make soda taste consistent no matter where you go? Like, can we please figure out how to like devise a soda machine where I can rock up to Wendy's and order a nice Baconator and get like a soda on the side and not take a sip of my Pepsi and go, man, this tastes like shit because it's literally all syrup or literally all carbonation and no in between. You know? Can we please figure it the fuck out?
They all have their own brand of a little bit fucked up, and that's what I figured out. And it's weird. Because like I remember as a kid, I got a Jack in the Box Coke, and I was like, man, this tastes like cinnamony. It tastes like mostly cinnamon, and it's not nearly as sweet as other things. And I was like, okay, that was probably just a weird day, went to a different Jack in the Box like 5 years later, because I had a stint where I never went to Jack in the Box. Same cinnamony Coke, and it was fucked up, and it's still like that. I've tried multiple locations. I've actively sought out different locations to find out. It seems like every branch has their own like variation of it. It's really weird.
That is super strange. But like, I'm not even talking about the consistent fuck ups. Like, McDonald's Sprite is a little spicy. You know, it's got a little extra carbonation in there. You know, I'm more so talking about the fact that like I think it has something to do with the wage crisis right now. Actually,
What?
if we can loop back around
Holy
to
shit! How are
politics
we
talk-
tying back?
I think that people are more aware that they're being paid less for more labor, especially in fast food positions, and can't like give the slightest amount of a shit to calibrate the machines. At least locally, that's a problem. Because
calibration doesn't fall on minimum wage workers. That falls on the soda people. There's like a company that comes around, and they
who's to say they're not being paid well either?
That's true. I guess it would just be
That's what I'm
weird to
saying.
have
Everybody's
like,
underpaid these days. It just like that's what I'm saying is just that like it seems like it's always off in a different fucked up way lately, where it's like this is either going to be a perfectly normal soda or completely fucking undrinkable because it's that bad. You know, it's gonna be one of those two things.
yeah. I don't know. There have been a couple times where it's like, man, this shit's really, really bad, and I wish that I hadn't even ordered it. Because like now I just wasted a plastic cup. But most of the time I'll be able to choke it back, with the exception of like soda water. If I get straight up soda water, I'm kind of mad. I'm kind of really mad actually.
No, yeah. If they when they overcarbonate it is the only time where it's like I'm gonna drink as little of this as I possibly can. You know. Like, if it's just, like, all carbonation, it's just like, dude, I feel like I'm drinking a chemical that I shouldn't be right now. This sucks. But,
I don't know.
Like, I've gotten to the point where I just order tea every time I go out. Because it used to be when I was a kid, we didn't keep soda in the house, really. And so, like, soda was a special little treat you got when you went out to eat. And you would get a soda and you'd get a meal and it'd be real, real nice. But it's become such a thing lately of, like, I don't really keep tea around the house so much. I keep soda around the house. And because of the way sodas have been fucked up, I've just been going, give me a fucking tea. Because there's only so many ways they can fuck that up, and all of them are still perfectly drinkable. Please just give me a tea. Unless it's like unless somehow miraculously they give me a cup that's like the very last cup out of the machine and it's like all tea grounds all the way, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's sort of become the reverse where like tea is like a sweet little treat I can have when I'm out to eat somewhere. And then like sodas are what I have at home because they're canned and easy to pop in.
I'm a big proponent of the unsweetened iced tea because it's fairly consistent. Because the worst you get, actually, the worst that I've ever had. Yeah, and it's good. It's good. It's a little bit tart. It's got some different notes, and it's pretty consistent. The worst iced tea that I've had is I went to a McDonald's one time, and it was literally like black coffee. It was opaque. Tea should not be fully opaque.
No.
It was fucked up.
How are you?
But like,
how are you on ice? How are you on ice? Are you like I fill the cup?
Drink.
Oh, I don't care what I get. I fill the cup all the way with ice, and then I pour a drink after. Unless I'm somewhere where I can't refill it. If I get one beverage, I'll go half ice, half soda. Or half ice and then fill the rest of the way with my drink of choice. But if I get refills, like you do just about everywhere, it's all the way with the ice and all the way with the beverage, and then that's just how I do it. It's great.
Yeah. So think about like a large cup. You know that like lip that they have where it's kind of thinner at the bottom and then it like widens out at kind of a flare.
Oh my god. Do you only ice to there? You're getting like a cube worth.
About an inch higher than that. Where it's like it's a little under halfway.
Okay,
and that's where I'll put it for soda.
Acceptable.
For iced tea, because iced tea is like, I don't know what fucking chemical properties it has. It does not retain like cold. It just instantly gets warm.
No, you have to like flash freeze that shit in the cup with ice.
Yeah. Like that, I will probably do like 75% ice.
Right.
And like, it's good because then the ice has kind of a tea flavor and then you can eat the ice afterwards and it's great. It's an enjoyable experience.
Full cup guy. Never
a full cup guy. That's always
like,
too
go
much.
all the way with the
Unless
ice.
I want ice. Like there are times where it's like, man, I want ice. I don't want the drink. I want ice. Like I'll do that, but like I'm never gonna do that at a restaurant. You know.
I don't know. I do that at a lot of like little sit down eateries. Like I don't know. I just prefer it over like a little bit of ice. Because if you get too little ice, it all melts too fast. But if you get too much ice, that's not really an issue. Like, that might be an issue for navigating the straw around. Well, not if you drink it fast enough.
I suppose so. I just don't want to be on a timer as much. I'd rather have like
No. I guess
lukewarm
it's.
tea that isn't watered down. You know?
I guess the problem is I drink my drink very fast. If I'm allowed refills, like I don't really savor
me
it
too.
so much as just like I'll take a bite and then I'll take a big like swig off my drink and then take another couple bites and then take another big swig off my drink. And so like typically I'm not really on a timer so much as I'm just like eating till my mouth gets dry and then filling my mouth with like my drink of choice and just like gulping it down and then eating till my mouth gets dry again. And so I'm just naturally emptying the cup about the time it would begin to get noticeably watery. Like the last
Yeah.
sip might be noticeably watery, but the rest of it's
Weird.
like, yeah, this is fine.
Weird thing. I like forget
Yeah.
about my drink and then I drink half the cup. And like that's what I do. That's why I like iced tea so much, is because you can pound that shit, motherfucker.
Oh yeah,
And it's
iced
like
tea
I
goes
always
down
feel
smooth
bad.
every time.
Yeah, I always feel bad for like proper servers, because I've had a few servers where it's like I will drink an entire cup of iced tea within the first minute of sitting down, and then they'll come over and they'll refill it. And like if it's a particularly hot day, it'll be like, all right, I just drank another entire glass of iced tea this time within 5 minutes instead of the like 1 minute window. And then I think I kept count. I think I have gotten 9 refills of unsweetened iced tea before.
Right. No,
And it was like,
I drink
man.
a lot. When I'm sitting in a restaurant though, I try to time it out almost just because I'm used to
Mhm.
I'm used to more floaty servers who will like only really come by when it's time to drop off the check, or if they happen to be passing you anyway and they just stop real quick to be polite for like, is everything good? By the way, they always catch me mouth fucking full because I never
I
see
don't
them
know how
coming.
they do it.
And so they're just like, so is like I've taken like the biggest bite of my pasta that I possibly could have, and there are noodles hanging out of my goddamn mouth. And the lady comes over and she's like, "Is everything okay? Can I get you guys anything?" Or like, you know, like I'm just barely navigating that shit. Yeah, no, it's crazy, dog. Because
I don't know how
I
they
don't
do
know,
it.
they just
Crazy
managed to catch me.
dog.
Crazy dog. No, but the thing about it is I like to time out my beverages when it's like that. I'm just like, they'll sit you down, they'll ask you what you want, you'll order like an appetizer or the main course, but first they'll send off with drinks. They'll come back with the drinks, and then I'll order like, if I've ordered my appetizer, then I'll order my main course when they come back with the drinks. And then by the time the appetizer comes out, okay, so by the time they set the drink down, it's full. And then they leave, and then they come back with whatever appetizer I've chosen, if I've chosen one. If not, then the main course. And I try to time it out where it's like, okay, I got about however long until this server comes back with the food to kind of just, because usually that's somewhere between 10 to 30 minutes of just sitting, is just waiting on your food to get cooked and served to you. And so it's like, okay, I got a window here where I'll get through like my first glass in that window. And then once they come back around, they'll notice, your drink's empty, or they'll spot it from like wherever they're at and bring one over when they come. But usually they'll like notice that my drink is empty, and then go like, I'll bring you one back in a minute, and then lay down the appetizer, and I'll start working on the appetizer a little bit, drying my mouth out real nice. And then by the time they bring me another drink, I'll transfer the straw over, I'll start sipping at it, and I'll leave the cup there, and they'll come by and take it away. And by the time they come by and take it away, if they don't take it away immediately, if they have to come by separate for it, then I've usually hit about a fourth of my drink at that point. Just so they know, hey, if they're observant, they'll notice, hey, this guy's putting these back. I'm gonna need to walk around a couple times if I want to catch him appropriately to swap his drink out. And so like waiters usually come to my table either super often or super not often. Because they're like, oh Jesus, this fucking guy's gonna drink. And so like this guy's gonna sip
sweet tea.
Yeah, no. And so like usually I've finished. I go through maybe 1-2 glasses over the course of the entree, including that glass that I was just talking about. And then by the time I'm ready to leave, I try to finish off either my second or third one, depending on how big of an entree it was. And then they come by with the to-go boxes if I have anything left. And I finish my beverage. I'll get it done, and in the process of like asking for the check, getting the check, putting my card with the check on the corner of the table with the tip filled out and everything, and then coming and taking it, and then coming back around with my card. I like to ensure that I get through that last, like, usually it's like half to a fourth of a drink left. You know, like a sizable
Yeah.
chunk that I can sip over the next like minute to 10 minutes, depending on how like slow the server is. You know,
Yeah. See, for me, I
it's a
just like
process and it's deeply
I,
thought out. Yeah.
you and I are very different in this regard because for me, I get drink. I drink as much drink as I want to drink, and then that's all. So there will be some days that it's like, yeah, I drank like 12 iced teas over the course of this meal. The last one being like I didn't drink any of it until like I realized that, oh shit, there's a drink left. I don't want to waste that. And then I like vacuum cleaner it up. Or you know,
Well,
it's just like that.
I sip to
I don't
fidget
sip.
is the thing, is how I manage that, is like I'll just like I can work on my drink a little bit, I guess. It like the more often I'm sipping is the more impatient I've become with the food coming out. Because it's just like I'll like when it starts, I'll be sitting there and it's like, well, I've only been here for a couple minutes. It's okay. She just came by. She just came by and got my order. So, you know, I'll wait for her to come back around, you know, this hypothetical, in this case, female server. Does that make me a sexist? I don't know. They tend to be women in this area. I don't know why that is. But I get a male server every now and again. I got this one guy who was real fucking, like, sneaky. Like, he was real quick. Like, he swapped my drink out and then didn't take the cup on the way because he had, like, a clipboard in his hands. And so, like, he leaves, does a round of the restaurant, and then I look over and the cup is gone. It's just gone. And I'm like, where did that empty cup go? He must have came by and got it when I wasn't looking. And I asked my husband, and he didn't see him. And so I was like, huh, weird. Guy's quick. All right. And I was like, after I finished my second drink, I was looking out for him, and I didn't see him. And
oh my God.
So, like, I happened to be looking away. I think he chose an opportune moment. That guy got a big tip for this, by the way, if I remember correctly. And so, like, because he was quick with it, too. Like, within, like, a minute of me finishing my drink, he was there with another, like, he swapped the glasses for me.
Yeah.
And then, like, took it away. And then, like, by the third one, I was, like, I was making eye contact with my glass at all times while I was eating. And I caught him do it. He walked by with a cup in the hand closest to the table and his other arm kind of across. So all he had to do was set down the new one with a new straw in it, pick up the cup and carry it away in one smooth motion that didn't even make like a thud of the new cup hitting the table or anything.
That's cool.
And so it was such a smooth, articulate thing that I had just completely missed it the first couple times.
Yeah, no, like
Which is
for me,
crazy.
That's the issue, is that I will drink a drink that's in front of me. I will like, I'll get a new drink and I'll drink it almost completely instantly. And so if I have a really attentive server, I will just keep drinking too much iced tea. Like, it's just like more
Just
and
keep
more
pounding it
and
down.
more. And
I
like,
do that
I
with
feel
like
bad.
bread at the table. Like if they refill the bread that's for the table regularly, I will continue eating breadsticks or biscuits or whatever it may be.
That's the thing, is like as a bigger guy, I tend to avoid that because it's like,
You don't wanna be
if some
judged
bigger
for it,
guy
or-
is, yeah, like if some bigger guy is like, dude, you've eaten 4 loaves of bread, you are going to eat a full course meal as well. Like, I don't know. I already get this. Like, I don't feel as bad with things like this. Recently, I went to a steakhouse and I
Right.
ate an entire 24-ounce steak.
That's crazy.
That motherfucker was huge, and it was fantastic.
No, yeah, big
But,
steaks like that tend to be well prepared because you don't want to piss off the guy who just spent $30 goddamn on a 27-ounce steak.
Yeah,
Without any side, like not counting the sides of the drink or anything, you know?
no, yeah. I love getting big steaks at steakhouses, though. That's one of my things.
Big
is
steak
that,
for a
like,
big man.
as a big man, it's good to look at the menu and go like, I'm getting that one, and like see the big man option, and nobody bats an eye at you or like, oh, hearty appetite today, do you? It's just like, yeah, that's why this option is on there. I had
seen
Cracker
mine,
Barrel
like-
the other day, and it was called the Big Boy Breakfast. And I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
the
yep,
big boy breakfast. I love that shit. That shit's good.
I am the big boy.
You're the big boy. You get the big boy breakfast. But like I've seen I've seen the look on a server's face when I went up to the mountains recently, and their like dad was paying, who was very very well off. I've seen the look on a server's face when my 100-pound soaking wet like 5'6" husband ordered an entire like half rack of ribs for himself and 2 sides and a drink. It was very crazy. And it was even funnier. It looked like some fucking Flintstone shit because the ribs were just massive in his hands and he was pulling them apart and fucking munching down on them. He got a good way
That's
into them. I
good.
was impressed, you know? But like it was great. No, yeah, I don't usually go for ribs. Too much work. They're great meat. I love ribs.
Ribs are just like really messy. That's my issue with
just,
them. And they aren't
just
like
a mess of a food. Yeah,
they're good, but like I don't know. If I'm gonna go for messy, I'm gonna go for wings because
Oh,
like
man, I wanna
wings
go to,
are a
like, an
type of messy
Outback
that
or
you
something
go with.
now. Jesus.
I'm fucking hungry.
Yeah, dude, this is the kind of thing that post move we're just gonna go like, yeah, you want to go for like a fucking Outback tomorrow or some shit?
Yeah, right now at fucking 4:30 in the morning. Yep, we're recording this really late, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's only 3:20 a.m. Eastern time currently, but no, yeah, that's like our food talk. God, Jesus,
Yeah.
I have like 7 or 8 more topics that I wanted to get through in this not in this video, in this podcast. But I didn't get to literally any of them. So I think, or like literally any of them except for like a couple. So like Jesus Christ, man, I can't believe it. Like that food talk went on for a while. We got on a couple of different tangents that were real good.
We got on a lot of tangents.
We were gonna
I
record
yesterday
yesterday,
good,
and
but
some shit came up, and so we didn't because I wasn't really feeling it, and I couldn't I couldn't get in the right headspace, and I could tell Jed wasn't in the right headspace, and I was like, all right, we'll come back. And I thought it was a mistake because I was like, ah, shit, we're just gonna feel worse about it tomorrow because we put it off. We've thrown our mojo. Tomorrow we're gonna sit down to record this, and it's gonna fucking suck one way or the other. Because we were in a bad mood yesterday about it, and it's just gonna bring that bad mood back to sit down and fucking go like, gotta do a goddamn podcast, you know? Gotta
especially after like a whole ass stream and shit.
Yeah, especially post stream. But it turned out really well. I'm liking this episode.
I think today was a good episode. But I must remind you at the very beginning of the episode, I had brought up the old man laugh.
Oh, right. Do you want to play us out and then we'll do the old man laugh?
Yeah,
as a cap.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We did this for the Chaluber episode.
We haven't done it solo yet. We have never repeated a trick.
Solo.
This is another first for this show, is what I'm gonna call it. Not laziness, but another first organically.
Which repeated trick is a first, so this is still a first technically. If you think about it that way,
technically we're still doing new and interesting things, even when we repeat ourselves. Anyway, go ahead.
The thing that you should think about is more of Jed and Vox. If you watch this whole podcast, you should watch more of us via our links down in the bottom. I have a link to Vox as a card. We're not going to get into that right
those
now.
Little animations.
Shut the fuck up.
All right,
I'm doing something.
Do the outro.
Every episode of the podcast comes out on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a good time here. Can you stop fucking interrupting me?
All right.
What else? Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We don't have a guest today, so nothing to plug. So yeah, shut the fuck up. I'll see you.
You know what, Jed? You know what? I'll fucking interrupt you all I want. Fuck the old man laugh. Fuck it. No, you quit that. You quit that shit. You can't play me out with the old man laugh now. After all this, after all we've done, I can't fucking believe you. See you next week for Cram.